Space wants to kill you instantly. Every second beyond Earth's protection, the universe actively tries to end your existence. Most people imagine peaceful ships gliding through space. That's completely wrong. Tonight we're discovering how space attacks human bodies, how quickly these threats kill, and why even our best technology barely keeps astronauts alive. Before we explore these cosmic dangers, drop a comment about your thoughts on space travel. If you enjoy these explorations into humanity's greatest challenges, consider subscribing. Your body wasn't designed for empty space. Empty space means no air to breathe anywhere around you. This becomes brutally clear when protection fails. You lose consciousness in 15 seconds. Blood pressure drops instantly. Saliva boils on your tongue. Your skin swells as moisture leaves your body tissues. The most terrifying part isn't the speed. It's that death takes much longer than losing consciousness. NASA discovered this through early testing. Test subjects lost consciousness rapidly, but their bodies kept trying to function for several more minutes. Those minutes become an eternity when rescue is impossible. Empty space offers no emergency breathing help, no helicopter rescues, no way for sound to travel so people can hear you scream. When your protective suit fails, every rescue method we use on Earth becomes completely useless. Space temperature swings dwarf Earth's harshest climates. Direct sunlight reaches 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Areas in shadow drop to minus 250 degrees. That's a 500-degree difference across distances you could walk in seconds. Temperature regulation becomes the biggest challenge for human survival in space. Advanced materials expand and contract constantly. This creates metal stress that can cause entire spacecraft structures to crack apart. Temperature changes happen instantly as objects move between sunlight and shadow. No air exists to slow down these shifts. Astronauts experience this thermal shock directly through their protective suit systems. What makes this particularly deadly is the speed. Earth provides gradual temperature changes over hours. Space delivers instant shifts that overwhelm any living system. Equipment failure means immediate exposure to temperatures that freeze or cook human tissue in minutes. Air pressure keeps your body functioning normally. Air pressure means the weight of all the air around you pushing against your skin. In space, this pressure completely disappears. Your lungs contain air at normal pressure. Blood vessels contain dissolved gases. When outside pressure vanishes, these gases try to expand rapidly. This creates a medical emergency called decompression sickness. Nitrogen bubbles form in your bloodstream. These bubbles block blood flow to vital organs. The expansion happens whether you hold your breath or not. Holding your breath actually makes it worse by trapping expanding air in your lungs. This can rupture lung tissue and cause immediate death. Spacesuits must maintain artificial pressure around the human body. Any breach in this pressurized environment starts a countdown to unconsciousness and death. Astronauts become completely dependent on mechanical systems for survival. Life support systems control every breath of air. They regulate temperature, pressure, and humidity constantly. A single component failure can kill within minutes. Oxygen generators can malfunction. Air recycling systems can break down. Temperature controls can fail catastrophically. The most dangerous aspect is the lack of backup options. On Earth, if heating fails, you can light a fire. If water stops flowing, you can find another source. In space, there's nowhere to go when systems fail. Modern spacecraft carry backup systems for critical functions. But even backup systems have limits. Multiple failures can overwhelm any safety margin. When life support fails in space, death follows quickly and inevitably. Humans need constant fresh oxygen to survive. Fresh oxygen means new air that doesn't contain the carbon dioxide you just breathe out. In space, this fresh air must be artificially created and maintained. Oxygen supply systems can fail in multiple ways. Generators can malfunction. Storage tanks can leak. Recycling equipment can break down completely. But the deadlier problem is carbon dioxide buildup. Every breath you exhale contains poisonous carbon dioxide gas. This gas must be constantly removed from your breathing air. Carbon dioxide removal systems require complex chemical processes. When these systems fail, you don't just run out of oxygen. You slowly poison yourself with your own exhaled waste. Death comes from carbon dioxide poisoning long before oxygen runs out. Space missions carry limited backup supplies for both oxygen and carbon dioxide removal. When these supplies are exhausted, no natural source exists for replacement. Spacesuits must remain completely airtight to keep humans alive. Airtight means sealed so perfectly that no air can leak out anywhere. Even microscopic holes become life-threatening emergencies. A puncture smaller than a pinhead creates rapid decompression. Air rushes out of the suit at incredible speed. The escaping air creates thrust that can send an astronaut spinning uncontrollably. Rapid decompression means the protective air pressure around your body drops to zero almost instantly. Your body begins the same deadly process as direct space exposure. Small holes are often harder to locate than large ones. Astronauts may not immediately realize their suit integrity has been compromised. By the time symptoms appear, critical air supplies may already be lost. Spacesuits carry emergency patches for small punctures, but these repairs must happen quickly while the astronaut remains conscious and coordinated enough to perform the fix. Enclosed spaces in spacecraft can become deadly traps. Enclosed spaces mean areas where fresh air cannot circulate freely. Carbon dioxide builds up gradually in these areas. Unlike oxygen depletion, carbon dioxide poisoning happens slowly and quietly. Early symptoms include drowsiness and confusion. These symptoms make it harder to recognize the danger. Carbon dioxide is heavier than normal air. It settles in low areas of spacecraft compartments. Astronauts working in these areas may not realize they're breathing increasingly dangerous air. The gas is colorless and odorless. No natural human senses can detect rising carbon dioxide levels. Only electronic monitoring equipment can provide warning. High carbon dioxide concentrations cause unconsciousness and death. By the time symptoms become severe, astronauts may be too impaired to escape or fix the ventilation problem. Zero gravity seems fun in movies. Zero gravity means no force pulling you toward any surface. Your body experiences this as floating freely in all directions. But human bodies require gravity to function properly. Without gravity's constant pull, your body begins breaking down immediately. Blood stops flowing normally throughout your body. Fluids shift toward your head, causing facial swelling and sinus congestion. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard, so it begins weakening. Bones start losing calcium within days. Muscles begin shrinking without resistance to work against. These changes become permanent if exposure continues long enough. Zero gravity also affects your inner ear balance system. This causes severe motion sickness and disorientation. Simple tasks become nearly impossible when you can't tell which direction is up. Space contains no air to carry sound waves. No air means complete and absolute silence at all times. This silence is more profound than anything humans naturally experience. Sound deprivation affects human psychology in dangerous ways. Your brain expects constant audio input from the environment. Without this input, auditory hallucinations can begin. The silence amplifies every tiny sound inside your spacecraft. Your own heartbeat becomes thunderously loud. Equipment humming becomes overwhelming noise. This sensory deprivation causes severe psychological stress. Astronauts report hearing voices that aren't there. Some experience music or conversations from their past. The absolute quiet also eliminates important safety cues. You can't hear approaching dangers. Equipment failures happen silently. Warning sounds from outside your immediate area become impossible. Space emergencies cannot be resolved with outside help. Outside help means rescue teams, ambulances, or emergency responders. None of these exist beyond Earth's atmosphere. Distance makes rescue physically impossible. The nearest help is hundreds of miles away on Earth's surface. Reaching that help requires complex spacecraft operations. Emergency response times become measured in hours or days instead of minutes. During medical emergencies, this delay guarantees death. Even minor injuries can become fatal without immediate treatment. Communication delays compound the problem. Radio signals take time to reach Earth and return. Real-time consultation with experts becomes impossible during critical moments. Astronauts must handle every emergency with only the resources already aboard their spacecraft. When those resources are insufficient, no backup exists. Self-reliance becomes literally a matter of life and death. Environmental control systems manage every aspect of human survival in space. Environmental control means the technology that maintains breathable air, comfortable temperature, and safe pressure levels. These systems are interconnected in complex ways. Failure of one component can trigger cascading failures throughout the entire spacecraft. Temperature control failure can freeze or cook astronauts within hours. Humidity control failure can create dangerous condensation that damages electrical systems. Pressure control failure causes immediate life-threatening emergencies. The most dangerous aspect is the speed of environmental collapse. Unlike gradual deterioration, system failures often happen suddenly and completely. Backup environmental systems exist, but they have limited capacity and duration. If primary systems cannot be repaired quickly, backup systems become overwhelmed. When environmental control fails completely, death becomes inevitable within hours. Invisible bullets race through space at nearly the speed of light. These bullets are cosmic rays, high-energy particles from exploded stars across our galaxy. They travel for millions of years before striking human bodies. Each cosmic ray particle carries tremendous energy. When one hits your DNA, it doesn't just damage the strand. It can destroy the genetic information at that exact spot. Your cells try to repair this damage constantly, but cosmic ray impacts can happen faster than your body can fix them. The damage accumulates over time like tiny holes being punched through your genetic blueprint. On Earth, our atmosphere blocks most cosmic rays. In space, nothing stops them. They pass through spacecraft walls as if those barriers didn't exist. Every second in space, hundreds of these invisible destroyers hit your body. The sun occasionally erupts with deadly violence. Solar particle events are massive explosions that hurl billions of radioactive particles toward Earth at incredible speeds. These events can happen without warning. During major solar storms, radiation levels in space increase by thousands of times normal amounts. This radiation dose can kill an unprotected astronaut within hours. Solar particle events release energy equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs. The particles they create move so fast they reach Earth's vicinity in just minutes. Astronauts have little time to seek shelter once the event begins. These storms can last for days. During that time, any human outside Earth's protective magnetic field faces a high risk of deadly radiation poisoning. Even inside spacecraft, astronauts can receive dangerous doses that cause permanent health damage. Earth's magnetic field creates an invisible barrier around our planet. This magnetic field deflects most deadly radiation away from Earth's surface. Beyond this protective zone, humans lose their only natural defense against cosmic radiation. The magnetic field extends about 40,000 miles from Earth. Once spacecraft travel beyond this distance, radiation exposure increases dramatically. Astronauts become vulnerable to every particle stream in space. This protection works like an umbrella in a radiation storm. Inside the umbrella, you stay relatively safe. Outside it, the storm hits with full force. Long-distance space missions must travel far beyond Earth's magnetic protection. Mars missions, for example, require months of travel through completely unshielded space. Astronauts on these journeys can receive radiation doses that raise the odds of serious health problems. Radiation damage builds up inside your body over time. Cumulative damage means each radiation exposure adds to all previous exposures. Your body never fully recovers from this kind of harm. Short space missions already expose astronauts to dangerous radiation levels. A 6-month mission delivers radiation equivalent to getting hundreds of medical X-rays. Longer missions multiply this damage over time. Cancer risk increases with every day spent in space. Radiation doesn't just increase your chances of getting cancer. It can make cancer far more likely if exposure continues long enough. The most terrifying aspect is the delayed effect. Radiation damage may not cause symptoms for years. By the time cancer appears, the radiation exposure happened long ago and cannot be undone. High radiation doses trigger a medical emergency called acute radiation sickness. Acute means the sickness develops rapidly over days or weeks. This condition destroys your body's ability to fight infections. Radiation targets the fastest growing cells in your body first. These include immune system cells, which your body produces constantly. When radiation kills these cells faster than your body can replace them, your immune defenses collapse. Early symptoms include nausea and fatigue, but the real danger comes later when your white blood cell count drops to 0. Without white blood cells, any infection becomes potentially fatal. Severe acute radiation sickness has a mortality rate above 50% even with the best medical care. In space, where advanced medical treatment is impossible, this condition can become a death sentence. High-energy cosmic rays can strike brain cells directly. Brain cell destruction from radiation causes immediate and permanent cognitive damage. Unlike other cells, brain neurons cannot regenerate once they're destroyed. Cosmic ray impacts create microscopic scars throughout brain tissue. These scars disrupt normal neural connections. Memory formation becomes difficult. Decision-making abilities decline rapidly. Astronauts on long missions report increasing confusion and forgetfulness. Some experience personality changes that persist after returning to Earth. These effects result from accumulated brain cell damage. The most dangerous aspect is the unpredictability. A single high-energy particle can destroy critical brain cells responsible for vital functions. This damage happens instantly and cannot be reversed by any known medical treatment. Massive radiation shielding seems like an obvious solution. Radiation shielding means thick barriers designed to absorb or deflect harmful particles before they reach human bodies. But effective shielding creates bigger problems than it solves. Stopping high-energy cosmic rays requires enormous amounts of heavy material. Lead shielding thick enough to provide real protection would make spacecraft too heavy to launch. The weight becomes prohibitive for long missions. Even the heaviest practical shielding only reduces radiation exposure by modest amounts. Complete protection would require shielding so massive that no rocket could carry it into space. Current spacecraft provide minimal radiation protection. The thin aluminum walls used in most spacecraft can make radiation exposure worse by creating secondary radiation when particles impact the metal. When cosmic rays hit spacecraft materials, they create new radioactive particles. Secondary radiation refers to these newly created particles that scatter in all directions. This process can increase the total radiation inside spacecraft. Heavy atomic nuclei in cosmic rays break apart when they strike spacecraft walls. Each impact creates dozens of smaller radioactive fragments. These fragments bounce around inside the spacecraft like deadly pinballs. Secondary radiation is often more dangerous than the original cosmic rays. The fragments move in unpredictable directions and carry significant energy. They can cause more biological damage than the initial particle that created them. This effect makes traditional radiation shielding counterproductive in space. Materials that protect against radiation on Earth can increase radiation exposure in the cosmic ray environment of space. Radiation attacks reproductive cells with particular efficiency. Genetic damage to sperm and egg cells affects not just the exposed person but their future children. This damage can cause birth defects and genetic disorders in offspring. Reproductive cells are especially vulnerable because they divide frequently. Radiation causes the most damage to rapidly dividing cells. Each cell division provides an opportunity for radiation to corrupt genetic information. Male astronauts show decreased sperm counts after space missions. Female astronauts face increased risks of miscarriage and birth defects. These effects can persist for years after radiation exposure ends. The damage can affect multiple generations. Genetic mutations caused by radiation can pass to children and grandchildren. Space travel can potentially impact not just astronauts, but their descendants for generations. Radiation systematically destroys your infection-fighting white blood cells. Immune collapse means your body loses the ability to fight off bacteria, viruses, and other harmful microorganisms. Even minor infections can become life-threatening. White blood cells reproduce constantly throughout your lifetime. This rapid reproduction makes them primary targets for radiation damage. As radiation levels increase, white blood cell production decreases dramatically. Without adequate immune function, astronauts become vulnerable to infections that would normally be harmless. Common bacteria carried by crew members can cause fatal illness in radiation-weakened astronauts. The immune suppression effect can persist long after radiation exposure ends. Astronauts can remain vulnerable to infections for months after returning from space missions. Recovery time increases with the total radiation dose received. Radiation provides no sensory warning of its presence. Silent Killer describes radiation's ability to cause deadly damage without creating any immediate symptoms. Humans have no natural ability to detect radiation exposure. Unlike other space dangers, radiation exposure feels like nothing at all. You don't feel pain when cosmic rays strike your cells. You don't experience discomfort as DNA damage accumulates. The deadly process happens completely below the threshold of human sensation. By the time radiation symptoms appear, permanent damage has already occurred. Nausea and fatigue can indicate radiation levels high enough to cause serious health problems. These symptoms mean the exposure has already reached dangerous levels. Radiation detection requires specialized electronic equipment. Without these instruments, astronauts have no way to know when they're being exposed to lethal radiation doses. The invisible threat strikes without any natural warning system. Radiation exposure in space cannot be treated effectively with current medical technology. Medical helplessness refers to the inability to provide effective treatment for severe radiation sickness in the space environment. The complex medical care required doesn't exist beyond Earth. Radiation treatment requires blood transfusions, immune system support, and specialized medications. None of these treatments are available during space missions. Spacecraft medical kits contain only basic supplies for minor injuries. Severe radiation exposure requires immediate hospitalization with intensive medical care. Patients need bone marrow transplants, blood products, and constant monitoring. These treatments are impossible to provide in space. The isolation of space travel makes medical evacuation impossible. Earth-based hospitals are months away during deep space missions. By the time a spacecraft could return for medical treatment, severely radiation-exposed astronauts would likely already be dead. A fleck of paint becomes a deadly weapon in space. Hypervelocity means moving faster than any bullet ever fired on Earth. Even the tiniest particles travel at these incredible speeds in space. Space debris moves at 17,000 miles per hour on average. That's 20 times faster than a rifle bullet. At these speeds, a paint chip carries the same destructive force as a small bomb. The impact energy increases with the square of velocity. Double the speed, and you get 4 times the destructive power. Space debris moves so fast that size becomes almost irrelevant to the damage it causes. A paint fleck moving at orbital speed can punch through spacecraft windows. It can disable sensitive equipment instantly. What seems harmless on Earth becomes lethal ammunition in the space environment. What happens when space junk collides with more space junk? Cascade effect describes a runaway process where each collision creates thousands of new fragments. These fragments then collide with other objects, creating even more debris. Scientists call this phenomenon Kessler syndrome. One collision between large objects can generate tens of thousands of smaller pieces. Each piece becomes a new projectile capable of causing another collision. The mathematics are terrifying. Each generation of collisions creates exponentially more fragments than the previous one. What starts as 2 colliding satellites can eventually produce millions of deadly pieces. This cascade has already begun in Earth's orbit. The debris population grows faster than natural decay can remove it. We're approaching a point where space around Earth becomes permanently unusable due to debris density. Space agencies cannot predict when most collisions will happen. Tracking impossibility refers to the fundamental limits of detecting and following millions of small debris pieces. Current radar systems can only see objects larger than a softball. Millions of smaller fragments remain completely invisible to tracking networks. These pieces still carry enough energy to destroy spacecraft. They move in constantly changing orbits that make prediction impossible. Orbital mechanics involves incredibly complex calculations. Tiny atmospheric variations change debris paths unpredictably. Solar radiation pressure alters orbits in ways that accumulate over time. Even tracked objects have uncertain positions. Small measurement errors compound over days and weeks. By the time a collision warning could be issued, the predicted impact zone becomes uselessly large. Can armor stop hypervelocity impacts? Defense penetration shows how even multiple layers of protection fail against high-speed debris. Space debris moves so fast that conventional armor becomes ineffective. Spacecraft use Whipple shields, multiple thin layers separated by gaps. The first layer breaks apart incoming debris. Subsequent layers catch the fragments. This system works against small particles but has strict limits. Large debris pieces punch through multiple shield layers like paper. The impact energy overwhelms any practical defense system. Adding more armor makes spacecraft too heavy to launch effectively. Each shield layer adds weight and complexity to spacecraft design. The protection gained often doesn't justify the enormous cost in launch weight. Perfect protection would require armor so heavy that space missions become impossible. Debris impacts create holes in spacecraft walls instantly. Explosive decompression means the rapid loss of air pressure when the protective barrier is breached. All the air inside rushes out through the hole in seconds. The escaping air creates tremendous force. Large holes can empty entire spacecraft compartments before emergency systems can respond. Astronauts have no time to reach protective equipment or sealed areas. Air doesn't just leak out gradually through debris holes. The pressure difference between inside and outside creates violent airflow. This rushing air can knock astronauts unconscious or pull them toward the breach. Emergency patches exist for small holes, but debris often creates damage too large or irregularly shaped for quick repairs. When major decompression occurs, the spacecraft becomes uninhabitable within minutes. Space contains countless fragments smaller than marbles. Microscopic swarm describes the billions of tiny debris pieces that remain invisible to all tracking systems. These fragments still carry enough energy to cause critical damage. Particles smaller than a pebble cannot be detected by current technology, yet they move at the same lethal speeds as larger debris. A piece the size of a grain of sand can puncture spacewalk suits or damage delicate instruments. The quantity of small debris vastly exceeds larger pieces. For every trackable object, millions of invisible fragments share the same space. The probability of impact increases dramatically when you consider all debris sizes. Small impacts happen constantly on spacecraft and space stations. Most cause only minor damage that accumulates over time, but a single hit to a critical system can disable or destroy an entire mission. Spacecraft cannot dodge every piece of incoming debris. Maneuvering limits refer to the fundamental constraints on how quickly and often spacecraft can change their paths. Rocket fuel supplies and engine capabilities impose strict boundaries on avoidance maneuvers. Orbital mechanics make collision avoidance extremely difficult. Changing course requires precise timing and significant fuel consumption. Spacecraft carry limited fuel that must last for entire mission durations. Emergency maneuvers can actually increase collision risk with other debris pieces. Moving to avoid one object might place the spacecraft directly in the path of another. The debris environment is too dense for perfect avoidance. Frequent course changes destabilize spacecraft operations. Scientific instruments require stable pointing for accurate measurements. Life support systems work best in predictable orbital configurations. Constant maneuvering degrades mission effectiveness dramatically. What happens when debris hits life support equipment directly? Critical system destruction means the immediate failure of equipment essential for crew survival. Unlike gradual equipment wear, debris impacts cause instant and complete failures. Life support systems concentrate many vital functions in small spaces. A single debris hit can disable oxygen generation, air recycling, and temperature control simultaneously. These systems have backup components, but direct impacts often destroy backups along with primary systems. Communication equipment is particularly vulnerable to debris strikes. Antennas and external sensors offer large target areas for incoming fragments. When communication fails, spacecraft become completely isolated from ground support. The randomness of debris impacts makes system protection nearly impossible. Unlike planned maintenance or gradual failures, debris damage happens without warning. Emergency procedures assume some systems remain functional to support repairs or evacuation. Fixing debris damage in space presents unique challenges. Repair impossibility describes the fundamental barriers to conducting emergency repairs in the space environment. Standard repair techniques used on Earth become extremely difficult or dangerous in space. Welding and cutting operations require atmospheric pressure that doesn't exist in space. Debris often causes structural damage that requires major reconstruction. These repairs demand specialized equipment and facilities that spacecraft don't carry. Spacewalks for external repairs expose astronauts to the same debris environment that caused the original damage. Working outside protective spacecraft increases collision risk dramatically. Repair activities often must be abandoned due to debris hazards. Internal repairs face similar constraints. Debris impacts often damage multiple systems simultaneously. Repair parts and tools are strictly limited on spacecraft. Complex damage exceeds the repair capabilities of any space mission. One debris impact can destroy an entire spacecraft through cascading failures. System cascade describes how damage to one component triggers failures throughout interconnected spacecraft systems. Modern spacecraft integrate their systems so thoroughly that isolated failures become impossible. Electrical systems share power distribution networks throughout spacecraft. A debris hit that damages power systems can disable seemingly unrelated equipment. Life support, communication, and navigation systems all depend on electrical power to function. Cooling systems circulate fluids through spacecraft to maintain equipment temperatures. Debris punctures that breach cooling lines can cause overheating in distant systems. Electronic failures cascade as equipment exceeds safe operating temperatures. The interconnected nature of spacecraft systems amplifies debris damage beyond the initial impact point. What begins as localized structural damage spreads throughout the entire vehicle. Single debris hits regularly cause total mission failures through these cascade effects. Astronauts lose muscle mass faster than hospital patients confined to bed. Muscle melting describes the rapid breakdown of muscle tissue when gravity stops providing resistance. Your muscles need constant work to maintain their size and strength. On Earth, gravity forces your muscles to work continuously just to keep you upright. Walking, standing, even sitting requires muscular effort against gravitational pull. In space, this essential resistance completely disappears. Muscle loss begins within days of entering zero gravity. The body recognizes that large muscles are no longer necessary for basic movement. It starts breaking down muscle protein to use for other biological functions. Astronauts can lose 20% of their muscle mass during 6-month missions. This loss affects all muscle groups but hits the legs and back most severely. The muscles that normally fight gravity become the first casualties of weightlessness. Why do astronauts' bones become fragile in space? Bone dissolution means the process where bones lose their mineral content and become weak. Without gravity's constant stress, bones stop maintaining their strength and density. Bones are living tissue that constantly rebuilds itself. On Earth, the stress of supporting your body weight signals bones to stay strong. In zero gravity, this stress signal disappears completely. The body begins removing calcium from bones within weeks of space exposure. Calcium that should strengthen bones gets released into the bloodstream instead. This calcium then gets eliminated through urine. Bone loss in space happens 10 times faster than osteoporosis on Earth. Astronauts lose bone density at a rate of 1.5% per month. This bone weakening creates fracture risks that persist long after returning to Earth. Your heart doesn't have to pump blood upward against gravity in space. Heart shrinkage refers to the weakening and size reduction of cardiac muscle when it no longer faces gravitational resistance. The heart becomes dangerously inefficient. On Earth, your heart works constantly to pump blood from your legs back up to your chest and brain. This upward pumping requires significant muscular force. Zero gravity eliminates this workload entirely. The heart muscle responds to reduced workload by becoming smaller and weaker. Like any muscle that stops working hard, the heart loses strength and pumping capacity. This adaptation happens surprisingly quickly. Astronauts develop cardiovascular deconditioning within weeks. Their hearts become unable to handle normal Earth gravity blood circulation. Standing up after returning from space can cause fainting due to inadequate blood flow to the brain. Blood and other body fluids shift dramatically in zero gravity. Fluid chaos describes the redistribution of liquids throughout the body when gravitational pull no longer keeps them in their normal positions. This creates immediate discomfort and breathing problems. On Earth, gravity pulls fluids downward into your legs and lower body. Your cardiovascular system is designed to work against this gravitational pooling. In space, fluids redistribute evenly throughout your body. Blood flows upward into the chest, neck, and head region. This causes facial puffiness and sinus congestion that resembles a severe head cold. Nasal passages become blocked, making breathing difficult. The fluid shift also affects the inner ear balance organs. Extra fluid pressure in the head disrupts the delicate sensors that tell your brain which direction is up. This contributes to severe disorientation and motion sickness. How does your brain know which way is up? Balance system breakdown occurs when the inner ear organs responsible for spatial orientations stop functioning properly in zero gravity. These organs depend on gravitational cues that simply don't exist in space. Your inner ear contains tiny calcium carbonate crystals called otoliths. These crystals settle in different directions depending on gravity's pull. Your brain uses their position to determine up from down. In zero gravity, otoliths float freely instead of settling. They provide conflicting signals about body position and movement. Your brain receives contradictory information about spatial orientation. This sensory confusion causes severe vertigo that can last for weeks. Astronauts report feeling like they're falling or spinning even when perfectly still. Simple movements become nauseating when your balance system provides unreliable information. Space motion sickness affects nearly every astronaut during their first days in orbit. Space sickness refers to severe nausea and vomiting caused by conflicting signals between vision and the inner ear balance system. The symptoms can be completely debilitating. Your brain expects visual information to match balance sensor data. On Earth, these systems work together to provide consistent spatial awareness. In zero gravity, they send contradictory messages. Your eyes see the spacecraft interior as stable and fixed, but your inner ear sensors detect no gravitational reference point. This mismatch confuses the brain's motion processing centers. The resulting nausea can be so severe that astronauts become unable to perform basic tasks. Vomiting inside a helmet can create immediate life-threatening situations. The sickness typically lasts several days while the brain adapts to zero-gravity conditions. Kidneys regulate fluid balance based on gravitational assumptions that don't apply in space. Kidney confusion describes the malfunction of these organs when normal fluid distribution patterns change completely. The kidneys can't distinguish between healthy fluid shifts and medical emergencies. On Earth, your kidneys monitor blood pressure and fluid levels to maintain proper hydration. They expect fluids to pool in the lower body due to gravity. When this doesn't happen, they interpret the change as a medical crisis. The kidneys respond to zero-gravity fluid shifts by eliminating what they perceive as excess fluid. They increase urine production dramatically during the first days in space. This leads to dangerous dehydration. Kidney malfunction also affects electrolyte balance throughout the body. Essential minerals like sodium and potassium get eliminated inappropriately. These chemical imbalances can cause muscle cramps, irregular heartbeat, and cognitive problems. Spaceflight weakens the human immune system in multiple ways. Immune system collapse refers to the reduced ability to fight infections when exposed to the stress and altered environment of space. Astronauts become susceptible to illnesses that would normally be minor. Stress hormones increase dramatically during space missions. These hormones suppress immune function as part of the body's stress response. Chronic stress keeps the immune system in a weakened state. The altered fluid distribution in zero gravity affects immune cell circulation. White blood cells that normally patrol the body for infections become less effective. They can't reach all body tissues as efficiently as under normal gravity. Confined spacecraft environments expose crew members to each other's germs constantly. With weakened immune systems, astronauts frequently develop respiratory infections and other illnesses. These infections can become serious without proper medical care. Extended spaceflight causes lasting damage to astronaut vision. Vision problems result from increased pressure inside the skull when fluids shift upward in zero gravity. This pressure damages the optic nerves that carry visual signals to the brain. Fluid accumulation in the head increases intracranial pressure significantly. This pressure compresses the optic nerves and changes the shape of the eyeball itself. The effects develop gradually over months in space. Astronauts begin experiencing blurred vision and difficulty focusing on close objects. Some develop permanent nearsightedness that requires corrective lenses. The vision changes often persist long after returning to Earth. NASA calls this condition SANS, Spaceflight-Associated Neuroocular Syndrome. The syndrome affects a large share of astronauts on long-duration missions. Current medical knowledge cannot prevent or fully treat these vision problems. Why do astronauts collapse when they first return to Earth? Earth return shock describes the body's inability to readjust to gravity after adapting to weightlessness. All the changes that helped astronauts function in space become handicaps on Earth. Weakened muscles can no longer support body weight against gravity. The heart struggles to pump blood upward from the legs to the brain. Bones have become fragile and prone to fractures from normal activities. Astronauts often cannot stand without assistance after landing. Their cardiovascular system cannot maintain adequate blood pressure in a gravitational field. Standing up causes fainting due to insufficient brain blood flow. Balance problems persist for weeks after space missions end. The inner ear system must relearn how to interpret gravitational cues. Simple activities like walking become challenging when spatial orientation remains unreliable. Some effects of zero-gravity exposure become permanent parts of an astronaut's physiology. Permanent damage refers to bodily changes that persist indefinitely after space missions end. The human body was never designed to function outside Earth's gravitational environment. Bone density loss can take years to recover partially. Some astronauts never regain their pre-flight bone strength. This creates lifelong risks of fractures and skeletal problems. Vision changes often become permanent conditions requiring ongoing treatment. The optic nerve damage from increased head pressure cannot be fully reversed. Many astronauts need corrective lenses for the rest of their lives. Cardiovascular deconditioning effects can persist for months after short missions. Longer space exposures may cause permanent changes to heart function. The cumulative effects of multiple space missions multiply these health risks dramatically. Astronauts experience the most extreme isolation possible for human beings. Complete separation means being cut off from every person, place, and familiar experience that defines normal life. This isolation goes far beyond anything humans naturally experience. Earth becomes a distant blue dot visible through spacecraft windows. Everyone you've ever known exists on that tiny sphere millions of miles away. No possibility exists for casual conversation, unexpected visits, or physical comfort from loved ones. The isolation isn't just physical distance. Communication delays make real-time conversation impossible during deep space missions. Radio signals take minutes or hours to travel between spacecraft and Earth. Humans evolved as intensely social creatures who need regular contact with their communities. Extended isolation triggers depression in even the most psychologically stable individuals. The brain interprets extreme separation as a fundamental threat to survival. Spacecraft interiors offer less living space than a small apartment bathroom. Claustrophobic conditions refer to the sensation of being trapped in spaces too small for psychological comfort. This confinement becomes unbearable during long missions. Astronauts cannot leave their spacecraft for fresh air or wider spaces. The walls that protect them from space also imprison them in tiny volumes. Every direction leads to another barrier just arm's reach away. The confined space contains the same people for months without any privacy or escape. Personal conflicts have nowhere to dissipate. Irritation builds until minor disagreements become major psychological crises. Panic attacks become common when astronauts realize they cannot escape their confinement. The fight or flight response triggers repeatedly, but neither fighting nor fleeing is possible. This psychological trap can lead to complete mental breakdown. How do you sleep when the sun rises 16 times per day? Day-night chaos describes the complete disruption of natural sleep cycles when normal light patterns disappear. Spacecraft in Earth orbit experience sunrise and sunset every 90 minutes. Human circadian rhythms evolved to follow Earth's 24-hour day-night cycle. These internal clocks control when you feel alert or tired. In space, these biological timers become completely confused. Artificial lighting inside spacecraft cannot replicate the complex light spectrum that regulates human sleep patterns. The brain never receives proper signals about when to prepare for rest. Sleep becomes irregular and unsatisfying. Chronic sleep disruption leads to severe psychological problems, including hallucinations, paranoia, and emotional instability. Astronauts report feeling constantly exhausted while being unable to achieve restful sleep. This creates a downward spiral of worsening mental health. Crew members cannot avoid each other during space missions. Inescapable conflict refers to interpersonal tensions that have no outlet for resolution when people are trapped together. Small personality differences become major sources of stress. On Earth, people can walk away from difficult relationships or take breaks from annoying coworkers. Space missions eliminate all possibilities for personal space or cooling off periods. Crew members remain in constant contact for months. Cultural differences, personal habits, and communication styles create friction in the confined environment. One person's normal behavior becomes another's constant irritation. These tensions amplify over time with no relief. Arguments over resource use, work assignments, or personal space can escalate into serious conflicts. When crew cooperation becomes essential for survival, interpersonal disputes create life-threatening situations. The inability to resolve or escape conflicts drives astronauts towards psychological crisis. Earth represents everything astronauts have left behind forever during their mission. Homesickness in space involves intense longing for familiar places, people, and experiences that remain completely inaccessible. This emotional pain can become psychologically crippling. Astronauts miss seasonal changes, weather patterns, and natural environments. They cannot smell flowers, feel wind, or hear birds singing. All sensory connections to Earth disappear except for distant visual observation. Food, music, and cultural traditions that provide emotional comfort become unavailable. Holidays and family celebrations happen without the astronauts' participation. Important life events occur while they remain helplessly distant. The knowledge that return to Earth may be impossible intensifies homesickness into devastating grief. Deep space missions carry real possibilities of never seeing home again. This transforms normal homesickness into a form of anticipatory mourning for everything they may have lost forever. Astronauts lose control over every aspect of their daily lives in space. Helpless dependence describes the complete reliance on automated systems and mission controllers for all survival needs. This loss of personal autonomy creates profound psychological stress. Life support systems control when astronauts breathe clean air. Food supplies determine what they eat and when. Mission schedules dictate every activity from waking to sleeping. Personal choice disappears almost entirely. Equipment failures can kill astronauts instantly regardless of their skills or decisions. This creates a constant sense of powerlessness where survival depends on factors completely outside personal control. The psychological burden of helplessness accumulates over time. Humans need to feel some control over their environment to maintain mental health. When every vital function depends on complex technology, people develop learned helplessness. This psychological state leads to depression, anxiety, and eventual mental breakdown. Space provides almost no sensory stimulation compared to Earth environments. Sensory starvation occurs when the brain receives too little input from sight, sound, smell, and touch. This deprivation causes the mind to create false sensory experiences. Spacecraft interiors offer monotonous visual environments with identical walls, lighting, and equipment. No natural sounds exist except mechanical humming from life support systems. Smells remain constantly the same without fresh air circulation. The brain expects constant sensory variety to function normally. When deprived of adequate input, it begins generating hallucinations to fill the void. Astronauts report seeing movement that isn't there and hearing voices or music. These false perceptions become increasingly vivid and realistic over time. Distinguishing between real and imaginary sensations becomes difficult. Sensory hallucinations can trigger paranoid thoughts and irrational fears that compromise mission safety and crew cooperation. Every moment in space carries the possibility of instant death. Constant death awareness refers to the psychological burden of knowing that countless hazards threaten survival continuously. This knowledge creates chronic anxiety that can become overwhelming. Equipment failures, cosmic radiation, debris impacts, and system malfunctions all present immediate lethal threats. Astronauts cannot ignore these dangers because they require constant vigilance and preparation. Death becomes a daily consideration rather than an abstract possibility. The fear response that helps humans survive dangerous situations becomes counterproductive when activated continuously. Chronic stress hormones impair judgment, memory, and emotional stability. Fear itself becomes a threat to mission success. Some astronauts develop paralyzing anxiety that prevents them from performing necessary tasks. Others become reckless as they attempt to cope with constant fear. Both responses create serious safety hazards that endanger entire crews. Stress and isolation impair the cognitive abilities needed for complex problem solving. Mental fog describes the reduced thinking capacity that develops when psychological pressure overwhelms normal brain function. Critical decisions become impossible when mental clarity disappears. Space missions require constant decision-making about technical procedures, safety protocols, and emergency responses. These decisions often determine crew survival. Impaired judgment during critical moments can cause catastrophic mission failures. Chronic stress reduces memory formation and recall abilities. Information processing becomes slower and less accurate. Astronauts report difficulty concentrating on important tasks that require sustained mental effort. The combination of sleep deprivation, social isolation, and constant danger creates cognitive dysfunction similar to severe depression. When astronauts can no longer think clearly, they become liability risks rather than capable crew members. Serious psychological problems cannot be treated effectively during space missions. Treatment impossibility refers to the complete lack of mental health resources beyond basic medications. Psychiatric emergencies become unmanageable crises in space. Spacecraft carry limited supplies of antidepressant and anti-anxiety medications. These drugs provide only temporary symptom relief without addressing underlying psychological problems. Professional counseling and therapy remain completely unavailable. 2. Severe mental health episodes require immediate psychiatric intervention that doesn't exist in space. Psychotic breaks, severe depression, or panic disorders can incapacitate crew members. No effective treatment options exist for these conditions during missions. Emergency psychiatric evacuation is impossible during deep space travel. Earth-based mental health professionals cannot provide real-time crisis intervention due to communication delays. Mentally ill astronauts must endure their conditions without proper treatment until missions end. What happens when the machines that make your breathing air suddenly stop working? Oxygen generators aboard spacecraft use a process called electrolysis to create breathable air from water. When these critical devices fail, astronauts face suffocation within hours. Electrolysis means using electricity to split water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen gas. The oxygen gets released for breathing while hydrogen gets vented into space. This process requires constant electrical power and functioning equipment. The failure timeline is terrifyingly short. Spacecraft carry limited oxygen reserves for emergencies. When generators stop working, these backup supplies get consumed rapidly by breathing crew members. A typical spacecraft has enough emergency oxygen for only 6 to 12 hours. This assumes normal activity levels and no leaks in the breathing system. Physical exertion or panic can reduce this survival time dramatically. Carbon dioxide removal systems must work continuously to prevent crew poisoning. Scrubber systems refer to the chemical filters that absorb the dangerous carbon dioxide gas that astronauts exhale with every breath. When these systems fail, the air becomes toxic rapidly. Every human breath releases carbon dioxide into the surrounding air. In spacecraft's sealed environment, this poisonous gas accumulates quickly without proper removal. The concentration can reach lethal levels within hours. Scrubber systems use chemical cartridges that absorb carbon dioxide from the air. These cartridges have limited capacity and must be replaced regularly. When the system fails, cartridges stop working or run out completely. Carbon dioxide poisoning causes drowsiness, confusion, and eventual unconsciousness. Unlike oxygen depletion, the poisoning happens gradually and may not be noticed until it's too late to fix the problem. Spacecraft cannot carry enough water for long missions without recycling every drop. Water recycling systems process urine, humidity condensation, and wastewater into clean drinking water. When these complex systems break down, dehydration becomes inevitable. The recycling process involves multiple filtration stages, chemical treatment, and purification steps. Each component must function perfectly to produce safe drinking water. A single component failure can contaminate the entire water supply. Failed water systems don't just stop producing clean water. They often produce contaminated water that's dangerous to drink. Astronauts face the choice between dehydration and poisoning themselves with polluted water. Humans can survive only 3 days without water under normal conditions. In space's dry environment with active life support systems, dehydration happens even faster. Water system failures create medical emergencies within hours. Spacecraft thermal control systems must maintain habitable temperatures constantly. Temperature control breakdown refers to the failure of heating and cooling systems that keep internal temperatures within human survival limits. Without these systems, space's extreme temperatures invade the crew compartments. Space itself has no temperature because it contains no matter to be hot or cold. But spacecraft in sunlight absorb intense heat, while areas in shadow become extremely cold. Only active thermal control prevents these extremes from affecting crew areas. Heating system failures expose astronauts to temperatures below freezing. Cooling system failures allow internal temperatures to rise above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Both conditions become lethal within hours. The human body cannot survive extended exposure to extreme temperatures. Hypothermia and hyperthermia both cause organ failure and death. Thermal control failures create survival emergencies with very short time limits for repair or evacuation. Electrical power runs every system that keeps astronauts alive in space. Total power loss means the complete failure of solar panels, batteries, or nuclear reactors that provide spacecraft electricity. When power dies, all life support systems stop functioning simultaneously. Modern spacecraft depend entirely on electrical systems for survival. Oxygen generation, air recycling, water purification, heating, cooling, and communication all require constant power. No backup manual systems exist for essential functions. Power failures create cascading emergencies where multiple life support systems fail at once. Astronauts lose breathing air, temperature control, and water purification all within minutes of power loss. Emergency batteries provide only limited backup power for essential systems. These batteries typically last less than 24 hours under full load. Without main power restoration, complete life support failure becomes inevitable. Spacecraft must maintain air pressure that matches Earth's atmosphere. pressure seal rupture occurs when the barriers that contain breathable air develop cracks or holes. The spacecraft interior begins losing pressure rapidly. Air pressure inside spacecraft is maintained by completely sealed walls and airlocks. Any breach in this pressurized environment allows air to escape into the vacuum of space. Even small holes can cause rapid pressure loss. Rapid decompression forces air out of the spacecraft at tremendous speed. Astronauts experience the same deadly effects as direct space exposure. They lose consciousness within seconds as their blood pressure drops. Emergency pressure patches can seal small holes if astronauts can locate and reach them quickly. Large ruptures or multiple breaches overwhelm any emergency repair capability. Complete pressure loss means certain death for all crew members. Long space missions require growing food aboard spacecraft to supplement stored supplies. Food production collapse refers to the failure of hydroponic systems that grow fresh vegetables in space. When these systems die, nutritional deficiencies and starvation become serious threats. Hydroponic systems grow plants in nutrient-rich water instead of soil. These systems provide fresh vitamins and minerals that cannot be stored in processed food for long periods. They also recycle carbon dioxide into oxygen. Growing food in space requires precise control of lighting, nutrients, water, and temperature. System failures can kill entire crops within days. Seed supplies cannot be easily replaced during missions. Stored food supplies have limited shelf life, even with the best preservation technology. Without fresh food production, astronauts face malnutrition and eventually starvation on long missions. Nutritional deficiencies weaken immune systems and reduce physical capabilities. Human waste must be processed and disposed of continuously during space missions. Waste Processing Nightmare describes the system failures that allow sewage, garbage, and toxic materials to accumulate inside spacecraft. These failures create dangerous health hazards. Waste management systems collect, process, and either recycle or dispose of human waste products. Solid waste gets compressed and stored while liquid waste gets processed for water recovery. System failures cause waste accumulation. Failed waste systems contaminate the air with dangerous bacteria and toxic gases. Accumulated waste creates serious health risks, including infections and poisoning. The confined spacecraft environment amplifies these hazards. Waste system repairs often require direct contact with contaminated materials. These repairs expose astronauts to serious infection risks. When waste systems fail completely, spacecraft become uninhabitable within days. Every critical spacecraft system has backup components designed to take over during failures. Backup system limits refer to the fundamental constraints on redundant systems when multiple failures happen simultaneously. Even the best backup systems have finite capacity and duration. Backup life support systems typically provide only partial capability compared to main systems. They're designed to support crews for limited time periods while main systems get repaired. Extended use overwhelms backup capacity. Multiple system failures can exhaust all backup options rapidly. When primary oxygen generation fails along with backup systems, no further redundancy exists. The same applies to water recycling, power generation, and thermal control. Backup systems also require maintenance and eventually wear out from extended use. Components that should last years, when used occasionally, fail much sooner when operating continuously. The safety margin shrinks with each backup system failure. Spacecraft carry limited quantities of replacement parts for system maintenance. Spare parts shortage occurs when repair components are exhausted before missions end. Critical systems cannot be fixed when necessary parts are unavailable. Mission planners try to predict which components will fail during planned mission durations. They pack spare parts based on these predictions, but actual failures often exceed planned quantities and types. Complex systems require specialized parts that cannot be improvised or manufactured aboard spacecraft. When unique components fail without available replacements, entire systems become permanently disabled. No alternative repair methods exist. The weight and space limitations of spacecraft severely restrict spare parts inventories. Carrying enough spares for every possible failure would make spacecraft too heavy to launch. Mission planners must gamble on which failures they can afford to ignore. Modern spacecraft rely on computer systems to control all life support functions automatically. Computer control failure means the breakdown of software and hardware that manages breathing air, water, temperature, and pressure. When computers malfunction, life support systems can turn deadly. Automated systems monitor and adjust life support parameters constantly. They regulate oxygen levels, remove carbon dioxide, control temperature, and maintain proper air pressure. These adjustments happen hundreds of times per minute. Computer failures can cause life support systems to operate incorrectly rather than simply shutting down. Oxygen generators might produce too much or too little breathable air. Temperature controls might overheat or overcool crew areas. Manual override systems exist but require extensive training to operate safely. Astronauts must diagnose computer problems while simultaneously taking manual control of complex life support systems. This coordination becomes extremely difficult during emergencies when quick decisions determine survival. Long space missions literally wear out the spacecraft that carry astronauts. Metal fatigue refers to the gradual weakening of spacecraft structures when they're subjected to repeated stress over many years. Every component slowly breaks down from constant use. Spacecraft experience continuous thermal cycling as they move between sunlight and shadow. These temperature changes cause metal parts to expand and contract repeatedly. Over months and years, this cycling creates microscopic cracks throughout the structure. Vibrations from engines, life support systems, and other equipment shake spacecraft continuously during long missions. These constant vibrations gradually loosen joints, weaken welds, and cause structural components to fail unpredictably. Unlike Earth-based vehicles that can be serviced regularly, spacecraft cannot receive maintenance during interplanetary journeys. Wear and tear accumulates without any possibility of major repairs or part replacement until the mission ends. Stored food loses nutritional value over time, even with the best preservation methods. Food decay describes the gradual breakdown of vitamins, minerals, and proteins in preserved foods during multi-year space missions. Astronauts can starve nutritionally while eating full meals. Food preservation technology can extend shelf life significantly but cannot stop nutritional degradation completely. Vitamins break down first, followed by proteins and other essential nutrients. The food remains safe to eat but loses its ability to sustain human health. Radiation exposure accelerates food spoilage in space environments. Cosmic rays damage food molecules directly and create chemical reactions that destroy nutritional content. This process happens faster in space than in Earth-based storage. Multi-year missions require food supplies that maintain full nutritional value for longer than current preservation technology can achieve. Astronauts on extremely long journeys face malnutrition regardless of food quantity. Serious medical conditions requiring surgery cannot be treated aboard spacecraft. Medical emergency refers to life-threatening health problems that need immediate surgical intervention or intensive care. In space, these emergencies become fatal because proper medical facilities don't exist. Appendicitis, heart attacks, severe injuries, and countless other medical conditions require hospital-level treatment to survive. Spacecraft medical facilities contain only basic supplies for minor injuries and illnesses. Major medical procedures are impossible. Long missions increase the statistical probability that crew members will develop serious medical conditions. The longer the journey, the greater the chance that someone will need medical care that cannot be provided in space. Medical evacuation to Earth becomes impossible during interplanetary travel. Spacecraft cannot turn around and return quickly when medical emergencies occur. Patients must endure potentially fatal conditions without proper treatment for the remainder of their journey. All medications have limited shelf life before they lose effectiveness. Medication expiration describes the gradual breakdown of pharmaceutical compounds that makes medicines useless for treating illness. Long space missions outlast the effectiveness of essential medications. Drug stability varies dramatically between different medications. Some drugs remain effective for years while others break down within months. Mission planners must predict which medications will be needed and pack accordingly. Expired medications often become not just ineffective, but potentially dangerous. Chemical breakdown can create toxic compounds that harm patients rather than helping them. Using expired drugs can be worse than no treatment at all. Pharmaceutical manufacturing aboard spacecraft is impossible with current technology. When medications expire during long missions, no replacement options exist. Previously treatable conditions become life-threatening emergencies. Why would children born during space travel care about reaching distant planets? Generational disconnect occurs when multi-generation voyages produce offspring who lack connection to the original mission goals. These children didn't choose the journey and may reject its purpose. Generation ships require decades or centuries to reach their destinations. Original crew members will die during the journey, while new generations are born aboard spacecraft. These space-born children have no memory of Earth or understanding of the mission's importance. Children raised in artificial spacecraft environments develop different values and priorities than Earth-born humans. They may see the spacecraft as their permanent home rather than a vehicle for reaching another planet. The original mission becomes meaningless to them. Generational conflicts can arise when spaceborne children question the wisdom of their parents' decisions. They might attempt to change course, return to Earth, or abandon the mission entirely. These conflicts threaten the success of extremely long voyages. Small crew populations create dangerous genetic problems over multiple generations. A genetic bottleneck refers to the reduced genetic diversity that occurs when only a few individuals reproduce within isolated populations. This limitation causes inherited diseases and birth defects. Spacecraft crews must remain small due to resource limitations and space constraints. When these small groups reproduce during long journeys, their children have limited genetic diversity. Harmful genetic traits become more common in subsequent generations. Inbreeding becomes inevitable when isolated populations remain small over multiple generations. Even careful genetic planning cannot eliminate all risks when the total population stays below several hundred individuals. Genetic disorders that are rare in large populations become common problems in small, isolated groups. Future generations born during extremely long space voyages face increasing risks of birth defects, inherited diseases, and reduced genetic fitness. Essential technical knowledge can disappear when expert crew members die during long missions. Expertise loss describes the permanent disappearance of specialized skills and knowledge that cannot be easily replaced during interplanetary voyages. Complex spacecraft operations depend on human expertise. Spacecraft systems require expert maintenance that goes beyond written manuals and procedures. Experienced technicians develop intuitive understanding of equipment behavior that cannot be fully documented. This knowledge dies with them. Training replacement experts during space missions is extremely difficult without proper educational facilities and hands-on experience. Complex technical skills require years to develop under expert supervision. Long voyages may not provide adequate time for knowledge transfer. When critical expertise disappears during missions, spacecraft systems may become unmaintainable. Essential repairs and adjustments become impossible without the specialized knowledge that maintained those systems. Technical problems that were once solvable become permanent failures. Prolonged isolation and stress can destroy the social structures that maintain order aboard spacecraft. Social collapse refers to the breakdown of rules, leadership, and cooperation that keeps crews functioning as organized teams. Long missions create conditions that lead to anarchy. Spacecraft crews must follow strict hierarchies and procedures to maintain safety and mission effectiveness. These social structures depend on mutual respect and shared goals. The extreme stress and isolation gradually erode these foundations. Conflicts between crew members can escalate into serious disputes when no external authority exists to resolve them. Personal grievances accumulate over years without any escape or cooling off periods. Small problems grow into major social crises. When social order breaks down aboard spacecraft, cooperation becomes impossible. Critical tasks may go unperformed due to personal conflicts. Mission safety depends on crew coordination that collapses along with social structures. What if the target planet becomes uninhabitable before astronauts arrive? Destination failure means discovering that planned colony sites are unsuitable for human settlement after multi-year journeys are already complete. The entire mission becomes worthless. Planetary conditions can change dramatically during the years required for interplanetary travel. Climate shifts, volcanic activity, or cosmic events can make previously suitable planets completely hostile to human life. Space-based telescopes cannot provide complete information about planetary conditions from Earth's distance. Problems that make planets unsuitable for colonization may not be detectable until spacecraft arrive at their destinations. Mission changes become impossible during interplanetary flight. Spacecraft cannot alter course to different planets without massive fuel requirements. When destinations prove unsuitable, the entire expeditions face complete failure after years of travel. Distance eventually makes real-time communication with Earth impossible. Communication blackout describes the complete loss of meaningful contact with Earth when spacecraft travel too far for practical information exchange. Crews become totally isolated. Radio signals travel at the speed of light, but still require significant time to cross interplanetary distances. Messages to Mars take up to 24 minutes each way during maximum separation. Conversations become impossible. Deep space missions face communication delays measured in hours or days rather than minutes. Emergency assistance from Earth becomes meaningless when help requests take hours to arrive and responses take additional hours to return. Complete communication loss occurs when spacecraft travel beyond the range of Earth's most powerful transmitters. Crews lose all access to Earth-based expertise emotional support, and mission guidance. They face all problems completely alone. Spacecraft carry limited fuel supplies that cannot be replenished during interplanetary travel. Fuel shortage occurs when unexpected course corrections consume more propellant than mission planners anticipated. Without adequate fuel, spacecraft cannot return to Earth. Interplanetary trajectories require precise calculations and perfect execution. Small navigation errors accumulate over long distances and require fuel-consuming corrections. Emergency maneuvers to avoid hazards also consume unexpected amounts of propellant. Deep space missions operate with minimal fuel margins because every pound of propellant reduces payload capacity for crew supplies and equipment. Mission planners assume best-case scenarios for fuel consumption that may not occur in reality. When fuel runs low during deep space travel, crews face impossible choices between continuing to their destination or attempting to return to Earth. Neither option may be possible with remaining propellant. Fuel shortages can strand crews permanently in interplanetary space. Closed-loop life support systems depend on biological processes that can fail catastrophically. Ecosystem breakdown refers to the collapse of artificial ecosystems designed to recycle air, water, and food during long space missions. When these biological systems die, technological backups cannot maintain crews indefinitely. Long missions require biological life support systems that regenerate oxygen, purify water, and produce food using living organisms. These systems create artificial ecosystems aboard spacecraft that must remain balanced for years. Biological systems are inherently unstable and can collapse suddenly from disease, contamination, or environmental changes. When plants die or microorganisms stop functioning properly, the entire ecosystem can fail rapidly. Technological life support systems cannot replace biological ones completely during extremely long missions. Chemical and mechanical systems have limited capacity and require supplies that cannot be replenished in deep space. Ecosystem failure means inevitable life support exhaustion. Space missions cannot carry trained surgeons for complex medical procedures. Missing doctors refers to the complete absence of specialized physicians who can perform life-saving operations when serious medical emergencies occur. Astronauts must face surgical emergencies without surgical expertise. Complex medical procedures require years of specialized training and extensive hands-on experience. Appendectomies, heart surgery, and trauma operations demand skills that cannot be learned from manuals or video instructions. These procedures require expert medical knowledge. General astronaut medical training covers only basic first aid and simple procedures. Crew members learn to treat minor injuries and common illnesses, but lack the expertise for major medical interventions. No amount of emergency training can replace specialized medical education. When surgical emergencies arise during space missions, crew members must attempt procedures they're not qualified to perform. The patient faces almost certain death whether the surgery is attempted by unqualified personnel or not attempted at all. How can doctors treat patients when they cannot see inside the human body? Diagnostic darkness describes the complete lack of medical imaging equipment that physicians use to identify internal problems. Without X-rays, CT scans, or MRI machines, medical diagnosis becomes largely guesswork. Modern medicine depends heavily on diagnostic imaging to identify broken bones, internal bleeding, organ problems, and countless other conditions. These machines are too large, heavy, and power-hungry for spacecraft to carry on long missions. Physical examination skills alone cannot diagnose many serious medical conditions accurately. Internal problems often produce similar external symptoms that can mislead even experienced physicians. Accurate diagnosis requires seeing inside the patient's body. Misdiagnosis in space can be more dangerous than no treatment at all. Wrong treatments can worsen medical conditions or create new problems. When physicians cannot see what's wrong, their treatment decisions become dangerous educated guesses. Serious injuries often require immediate blood transfusions to prevent death from blood loss. Blood banking impossibility refers to the complete inability to store and match blood products during space missions. This makes transfusions extremely dangerous or impossible to perform safely. Blood transfusions require careful matching between donor and recipient blood types. Incompatible blood can kill patients faster than blood loss itself. Proper testing requires laboratory equipment and supplies that spacecraft cannot carry. Stored blood has limited shelf life, even under perfect refrigeration conditions. Blood products deteriorate within weeks and become unsafe for transfusion. Long space missions outlast the viability of any stored blood supplies. Emergency blood transfusions between crew members become life-threatening gambles without proper blood typing. The person receiving blood faces immediate risk of fatal transfusion reactions. These reactions can kill patients within minutes of receiving incompatible blood. Fires behave completely differently in zero-gravity environments. Firefighting Nightmare describes the impossible challenge of controlling flames when they don't behave according to Earth-based expectations. Standard fire suppression methods become ineffective or dangerous in space. On Earth, hot gases rise due to gravity and flames point upward predictably. Fire suppression systems rely on these predictable behaviors to control and extinguish fires. In zero gravity, flames spread in spherical patterns without directional flow. Smoke doesn't rise in weightless environments, but spreads evenly throughout available space. This makes fire location extremely difficult and prevents smoke from clearing naturally. Fire suppression efforts become nearly impossible when visibility disappears completely. Water-based fire suppression creates additional hazards in spacecraft by damaging electrical systems and creating floating water droplets that can interfere with equipment. Alternative suppression methods may suffocate crew members in enclosed spaces. No external rescue services exist beyond Earth's atmosphere. Rescue Void describes the complete absence of emergency responders who can provide help during spacecraft emergencies. Astronauts cannot call for outside assistance when disasters occur. Earth-based emergency services depend on rapid response times and nearby resources. Ambulances, fire departments, and rescue teams can reach emergencies within minutes. Space emergencies happen millions of miles from any possible help. Spacecraft cannot be towed to safety like disabled vehicles on Earth. No space-based tow trucks, repair services, or emergency shelters exist. When spacecraft systems fail catastrophically, crew members have only their own resources for survival. International space agencies coordinate missions, but cannot provide immediate physical assistance during emergencies. Help from Earth requires launching rescue missions that take weeks or months to reach troubled spacecraft. Spacecraft medical supplies contain only basic medications for common problems. Medicine cabinet limits refer to the severe restrictions on pharmaceutical supplies that prevent treatment of serious medical conditions. Life-saving medications are simply not available during emergencies. Advanced medical treatments require specialized drugs that have limited shelf life and storage requirements. Many life-saving medications need refrigeration or have toxic breakdown products. Spacecraft cannot maintain the variety of drugs needed for emergency medicine. Dosage calculations for emergency medications require extensive medical knowledge and patient monitoring equipment. Incorrect dosages can kill patients as easily as the original medical condition. Untrained personnel cannot safely administer powerful emergency drugs. Drug interactions and allergic reactions create additional risks when crew members attempt to treat serious conditions with limited medical knowledge. Patients may die from medication complications rather than their original illness. Infectious diseases cannot be contained when isolation facilities don't exist. Quarantine catastrophe describes the rapid spread of contagious illnesses through spacecraft when infected crew members cannot be separated from healthy ones. The entire crew becomes infected simultaneously. Spacecraft have no separate medical isolation areas where sick patients can be kept away from healthy crew members. Everyone shares the same air supply, water system, and living spaces. Contagious diseases spread to all crew members within days. Medical isolation requires separate life support systems, food preparation areas, and waste disposal methods. These redundant systems would double the weight and complexity of spacecraft beyond practical limits. Isolation facilities cannot be provided. When highly contagious diseases strike space crews, the infection spreads until every crew member becomes ill simultaneously. No healthy crew members remain to care for sick ones or maintain spacecraft operations. The entire mission becomes endangered. Critical spacecraft operations depend on specific crew members with specialized knowledge. Expertise elimination occurs when key personnel become incapacitated or die during missions. Their irreplaceable knowledge disappears permanently with no way to recover it. Complex spacecraft systems require expert-level understanding that goes beyond written procedures and manuals. Experienced technicians develop intuitive knowledge of equipment behavior that cannot be easily transferred to others. This expertise takes years to develop. Cross-training crew members in all essential skills is impossible due to the complexity and quantity of specialized knowledge required. No single person can master every critical system aboard modern spacecraft. Specialization becomes necessary but creates vulnerable points. When essential experts are lost during missions, critical spacecraft functions may become impossible to maintain. Systems that require expert-level knowledge for repair or operation become permanently disabled. The mission capability degrades irreversibly. Distance creates communication delays that prevent real-time consultation with Earth-based experts. Communication delay refers to the time lag between sending emergency requests and receiving responses from Earth. During critical moments, these delays make expert advice useless. Radio signals travel at the speed of light but still require significant time to cross interplanetary distances. Emergency communications can take 20 minutes or more to reach Earth during Mars missions. Response advice takes another 20 minutes to return. Medical and technical emergencies often require immediate decisions within seconds or minutes. When expert consultation takes an hour round trip, the emergency situation may resolve fatally before advice arrives. Real-time expert guidance becomes impossible. Earth-based specialists cannot provide effective help when they receive only delayed descriptions of rapidly changing emergency situations. By the time experts understand the problem and formulate solutions, the spacecraft conditions may have changed completely. Emergency situations consume life support resources much faster than normal operations. Resource drain describes the accelerated depletion of essential supplies when crews respond to serious emergencies. Fighting one crisis can create multiple additional crises. Emergency response often requires increased oxygen consumption, higher power usage, and greater water consumption. Firefighting, medical procedures, and repair activities all demand extra resources. These elevated consumption rates quickly exhaust limited supplies. Spacecraft carry precisely calculated supplies for normal operations with minimal safety margins. Emergency responses that exceed planned consumption rates can exhaust critical resources before missions end. The emergency response itself threatens crew survival. Multiple emergency situations can create cascading resource depletion that overwhelms spacecraft capacity completely. Each emergency consumes resources needed for normal operations and future emergency responses. The crew faces impossible choices between addressing immediate crisis and preserving long-term survival resources.